Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do beer stuff here. Conclave. Conclave. My favorite brew. One of my favorite breweries. Favorite brewery in Jersey, probably. They released this not too long ago, but I was kind of like, I couldn't get down there. Just close enough to go, but hard enough to get to. And I was kind of angry because the name of the beer is Barrel Aged Stingo Ate My Baby. Two things. Stingo Ate My Baby, hilarious part of Seinfeld when they're stuck out in the island, and two, Stingo Ate My Baby. Yorkshire Stingo. So we were talking about Sammy Smith's beer that is near to dear to my heart. This is obviously an homage to that. So you're talking about one of my favorite beers and one of my favorite breweries doing an homage to my favorite beers. Then that's not all. It is aged, it's 9.2%. It's aged in Laird's Apple Brandy barrels. So you're talking about one of my favorite barrels. Not necessarily Laird's, but apple brandy. One of my favorite styles of beer. An homage to one of my favorite beers from one of my favorite breweries. Just checking all the boxes here. I was down in that area today. I think they released this a month or two ago. They have bottles and bottles of this. I hate all y'all. I love you because you don't buy this and then this dude can go get it, but I want you to buy their stuff so they can make more of this. That's the point. Now, this could suck. I don't know. I shouldn't sing its praises before I drink it. Is it though? Is it gonna suck? We'll see. You know, I haven't had... I don't think... No, I've had one thing that was barrel aged, I believe, from Conclave. So growing pains to be had there. But again, I was excited for this beer. I'm glad to dive into it. Label-wise, I dig it. Look at that little dingo. Well, a little dingo drawing behind the Stingos. So, and I like the shape, the diamond, the whole thing. I'm a fan. 375 milliliter. Right? 500 mil, sorry. And, yeah, I think, I want to say I paid $14.99 for this. I don't remember. Anyway, that looks part of a barrel-aged beer. It kind of looks the part of Yorkshire Stingo, if we're going to kind of associate it with that beer, which I think is pretty apparent. Maybe a skosh lighter. Soft little caramelized kind of malt ball head on it, and this little, like, iced tea-like body. Give it a whirl. Give it a nose. That smells like Yorkshire Stingo. It does. It does. Man, that smells so good. It smells like... Because, let me say this, because I don't... They don't actually say it on here. Let me look it up real quick. I want to... Because the reason why, because you're like, okay, you're just basing this off of the word Stingo. Let's see. Are we on the right thing here? That smells really good, dude. I hate Max, man. There we go. Oh, man, that nose is fantastic. That nose is absolutely fantastic. So, on their website, they actually kind of reference this beer. And what they do say, which isn't on a bottle, I should put it on there, by the way. 9.2%, a traditional strong ale from northern England. It falls between a dark malt and a barley wine. Kind of, just for me, that kind of seals it there. That's why I kind of keep referencing it. And it really does smell like that. And honestly, like Yorkshire Stingo, it varies from bottle to bottle. Like the 2008, I think, was my favorite bottle. I don't know if they do dates on the new ones, which is kind of a bummer. But in the old school bottles, you'd go in the back, and the top of the back, like somewhere in the back label, would actually tell you the date it was bottled. And the 2008 bottles were my favorite. They had this rich kind of old school, kind of aged kind of barley wine, but they drank a little bit lighter, even though they had this impact of a aged barley wine. They drank a little bit lighter, kind of like they're talking about with a dark mild. So it was the best of both worlds. Relatively low ABV, again, sub 10% here. But it gave you those kind of rich, old school, aged kind of barley wine vibes. And that's actually what you're getting in the nose here. Is that toffee, is that caramel, is that richness that you want, that sugar daddiness that you want from kind of an aged, kind of high ABV old ale. But again, dealing with sub 10%. Not getting a huge brandy barrel component to this. There's not a big sweetness, not a big heat, but that's the cool trick. Since this is sub 10%, I don't think you get those caramelly vibes, those candied apple vibes, which you definitely get here. The sugar daddy vibes. I don't think you get those without that barrel aging process. So that's that cool kind of marriage between both of those components to produce something bigger, elicit a more aggressive response, and use barreling as a kind of elevator, as an MSG to the beer aging and the beer awesomeness kind of process. Yeah, we're just gonna dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's delicious. Okay, I got a couple things to unwrap here. That's delicious. Y'all suck. Like, seriously, Jersey. This has been, when did this release? Like, I gotta go to their Instagram now. Because I'm angry. I'm very angry. Let's see how angry am I gonna get here. Now, I don't know how many of these they made. I actually got a sip of this, to be fair. Out of a nail pull, I believe it was, months ago. So this was released in September of this year. So almost the exact same date. So September to October, November. So September and October, October and November, November and December. 3 months. This has been sitting on our shelf for 3 months. Good, fine. I hope they stay open. They're going to stay open. Conclave will not go away. Better not. I hope they keep making these things. They will. But, man. First things first. You get that old school old ale kind of thing going on. Now, I highly doubt this is open fermented like Stingo. But you get this nice, like they describe it, between your dark mild and your barley wine. There's this rich caramelized, slightly boozy, malt forward ale. It's not necessarily barley wine. It is definitely old ale, but not the open fermented kind, but has those kind of vibes to it. Okay, you pick that back up a little bit on the barrel side of things. There's that rich caramels, that toffee that they talked about, and this kind of soft tannic tea-like kind of characteristic. So there was hops involved here. The hops were there. They're relatively big, probably at inception. They've helped the beers still be the beer over the aging process and the barrel aging process. So you get to multiple levels of like caramel, toffee. I'm missing something. Why is my brain hurting? Toffee, caramel. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to use more words than that. For the malt side of things, the bittering is cool, tannic tea-like, as I said. That apple brandy barrel is so freaking cool in this beer for a couple different reasons. One, on the nose, like I said, wasn't really all that aggressive on the nose. You get it, but I think a lot of those aged components you got on this beer tastes a little bit older than it actually is. It tastes, well, older than 3 months old. The apple brandy gives it to you, both in the nose and taste. Now in the taste, you absolutely get the apple brandy here. You get this sweetness. I don't think it's inherent to the actual beer. It's a sharper sweetness. It's definitely an apple brandy sweetness. But then when you combine in that tannic-like kind of tea-like vibes of the hops and a hefty oak component to it, it kind of dries the beer out. Not completely, but when you have that sweet on sweet, that pseudo barley wine kind of sweetness, that apple brandy kind of sweetness, you don't have that kind of tannic tea like hopping, those fugly Kent Golding kind of hopping, kind of attributes to the beer, and you don't have that dried out, not all that vanilla oaky kind of just like dry out oak tannin thing that helps kind of strip down that sweetness and makes it a super drinkable beer. I don't think you have that great of a beer without those components. It reminds me so much of Yorkshire Stingo, but elevated. Like, honestly, it kind of reminds me of that beer, but a barrel aged version of it, which I never had. I never got the experience that barrel aged version. And it's something that always kind of bugged me in my brain. I'm like, why haven't I ever tried to throw this in a barrel here, or throw that in a barrel there? I never did. Well, Conclave completed that task, and I thank him for it. This is very, very, very fun stuff, and not something that you get. Not something that you get from a lot of breweries. You know, sure, there are breweries that make these kind of things, but, you know, you're talking about a small brewery. You know, they send beer out to bars every now and then. They can in-house. They don't do a ton of stuff. They're ripping out old, musty old ales and apple brandy barrels. And no one's buying it. Well, people are buying it, obviously, but, you know, there's still bottles on the shelves to be had. Easily, mind you. My monitor just clicked off. Anyway, this is fantastic. Honestly, I was hoping it would taste nice. Hoping it would be something I dug. And it's actually exceeded my expectations. Do those matter? Do my expectations matter? Well, they do to me. And this is just the best version of Yorkshire Stingo and the best complement of an apple brandy barrel that makes for a really amazingly tasty beer. And this dude is happy. So all things are clicking. I don't know what else I want to tell you other than this is great. If you like barley wine, you like apple brandy barrels, and you want a more approachable ABV, because that's what you're getting here. I mean, you can tell the difference between this ABV and barley wine level, like 13%, but you're not missing much. And I also reviewed one of their other beers tonight, which was the smoked porter. Now it was 8%. My biggest kind of knock on that was, you can make this beer at 6. You can't make this beer any less than 9. You know what I mean? That's where I get on my soapbox and people kind of like are confused about my stance on ABV. I don't think you can impart these kind of flavors and this kind of depth and age and richness from much lower than this ABV. That's the tricky part here. That's the magic part here. That's the super impressive part here, is that they're giving me all these flavors, all this deliciousness at a sub 10% level, all in balance, mind you. That's where the precision comes in. You know, you're talking about a barrel aged old ale. You know, at this ABV, there's a lot. You're a little off here, a little off there. Height and elevation and whatnot on certain flavors. You can go sideways and not happening here. I have to go back and buy more to age, because I need to know what this tastes like in a couple of years. Long haul ager, maybe not, you know, but you know, year or two, be really cool to see where this one lands. Anyway, so there you go. That is the review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Conclave, have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Please let me know. Have you had this beer at release? You know, 3 months ago. Have you had it recently? Do you go there? Do you live close to there? Have you been there and not bought this beer? I want to know, because I want to make fun of y'all. So, anyway, review's over. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying this beer right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.